This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Glad that you have joined us. You're not going to find another show in the metro area that talks about what we talk about, and that is business expansion, real estate construction, economic development, and a few other fun things as well. My name is Jeff Beals, your co-host. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker, Trenton Magid.
And I'm still living, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and we want you to keep it that way for a long, long time.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I'm looking out the KFAB window and I saw snowflakes this morning.
Yeah, what the heck was that about?
I don't know, getting everyone in the Christmas spirit or something like that. Speaking of the holidays, happy Hanukkah. That we are in the middle of the 8 crazy nights, as Adam Sandler once referred to it.
Saw Adam Sandler.
How'd that go?
He didn't sing that song.
Really? Disappointment?
I was surprised.
What, was he funny?
Yeah, he gives a tribute at the end to Chris Farley. And so Rob Schneider was there. Kevin James was hiding out in the audience, and he came up and played the bongos and stuff. And always Rob Schneider. Let me think who else was. Judd Apatow, who is the producer of all those movies, Knocked Up, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and countless others.
Was this at CHI Center?
Yeah, it was good.
Very good. And what was that, like Tuesday or something? Wednesday?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, hey, we've got a Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review written by Sarah Baker Hansen, the premier food critic in town and part of our Grow Omaha team. And this week, Sarah reviews the Boiler Room, which is on the south side of the old market. I'll tell you, a very positive review. So many of Sarah's reviews, upon reading them, I feel very hungry. And that's definitely the case with this Boiler Room review. I've only been there once. I need to get back there. It was a long time ago.
I've been there several times. Very cool. It's an old boiler room on Jones Street, and there's a kind of a mezzanine area, and then you go down to the bar and more tables. Very cool ambiance. Well,
Cheer Athletics makes the Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews possible. And Cheer Athletics, located in Papillion, near Highways 50 and 370, just a little bit southwest of Highway 50 and 370. And they have about 12 national locations, so Omaha's lucky to have one here. And if you are looking for a place that will really develop your kids or grandkids and teach them leadership skills in a competitive but supportive environment, think about Cheer Athletics. We've gotten to know this organization well over the last year, and I just cannot say enough about how impressive they are and the great work they do with kids.
I've been up there, and it's amazing to see the families engaged, and not just the athletes, but also the siblings and the parents and grandparents.
Yeah, they're all part of the family at Cheer Athletics. Well, you can read that restaurant review and all of Sarah's Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews quite easily by going to growomaha.com. When you get there, you'll see on the navigation bar EATS, Eats. That's where the restaurant reviews are. Then also, while you're there on that same navigation bar, you'll see Market Report. And we have every copy of the Grow Omaha newsletter. Technically, it's the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report. We call it the newsletter for short. And you can see every edition of it going back to about 2.5, 3 years ago when we started that thing.
Yeah, we've got some legs under that thing.
Yeah, almost 20,000 people.
To Jeff.
Thank you. Almost 20,000 people receive the outbound email, so we're really excited about that. And
you can sign your friends up, too. You don't have to just forward it to them. You can just get in there, put in their name, their email address, and we don't do anything with the names other than send them a newsletter. And it's really, I get compliments on that all the time.
Now, technically, we don't officially recommend you sign people up who are not you, but
I do.
If you do it, I guess. I mean, there is this CAN Spam Act thing, so we recommend you sign up yourself and encourage all your friends to sign up.
All your workmates that need to be informed. If you don't want your friends to be informed, I understand.
Well, with that, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. In fact, I know so much about Eagle Mortgage that I actually attended the Eagle Mortgage Christmas dinner and party last night.
No way.
Yeah, and in full disclosure, my wife Stephanie does a little bit of part-time work with Eagle Mortgage from time to time, and so I think that's what qualifies us to get the
Champions
invite.
again?
No, we had it at it was a two-part. We started at Hero Sushi and ended up at Copacabana Cigar Bar. And
Wow.
had a great time with the Eagle Mortgage team. But more importantly than that, the team does a great job. Holly Schneiderwind is in charge over there, and she's really put together a group of good people who know what they're doing and are very customer-centric.
And creative. In this time with mortgages, you got to be creative.
Well, you do. I mean, they're still very reasonable at a historical basis, but compared to the last few years, it's been a big shock with the way those have gone up. And so, if you're thinking about getting a new house, you talk with Eagle Mortgage. They can shop a lot of different banks, find the best mortgage solution for you and your unique situation. Not all the banks can do that. We love banks, but not all the banks can do what Eagle Mortgage does because they are brokers. They get to work with a lot of people. Stop by, talk to them, 114th in Davenport, or you can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. All right, so a few things on the docket this week. Number one, a couple weeks ago, we told you about an apartment project on the southeast corner of 50th and Leavenworth. That's moving forward. We now have a name for it. It's going to be called the Walter Apartments, like the name Walter. And this 5-story apartment building has gone up in size. Originally, it was going to be about 53 units. It'll now be 58 units. A former out-of-business laundromat will have to be demolished. That should start fairly soon. Construction's supposed to begin around May 1st and be complete in October of 2025.
Do you think that's named after Walter Leavenworth?
Was there a Walter Leavenworth? Or are you just making that up?
Making it up.
Okay. I'm sure the name has some significance. What exactly that is, we do not currently know. The Omaha City Council approved rezoning requests that'll move along a 4-story, 195-unit apartment project near Saddle Creek Road and Mason Street. So if you can picture that area, there's a Baker's Supermarket at Saddle Creek and Leavenworth. This would be just south of that. And there's also a nice apartment building, existing building called the Boss Apartments. It would be just west of that.
That was a Bluestone development, and I sold the land to them.
Good job. And this project will, I think I said, 4 stories, 195 units, small amount of commercial space. Construction begins next summer with completion in 2026.
I think you're going to see more and more of this, Jeff, around the Med Center area. Newer ground-up stuff, and there's probably not a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of high-rise buildings around there to remodel.
Yeah, there really aren't. And so, you are. I would agree with that. It's mostly because of the dramatic Med Center expansion, but just the urbanization of the Omaha core, the better public transit that's going through there. I think all of that contributes to these types of projects. But it's a great thing. We know there's a limit to how much land the city of Omaha can annex because of geographic and political boundary constraints on the suburban frontier. And so to keep the city growing, have to have a lot of projects like this.
Got to grow up, not always out.
That's true. And speaking of growing up, we have an opening date for a 4-story, 90-room Fairfield by Marriott hotel that is under construction northeast of 72nd and Grover Street. It'll be January 20th. And then up in Blair, Dollar Tree has purchased the former Blair 3 movie theaters building. The exact address is 1645 South Highway 30 in Blair. And it's a 7,000 square foot building. So movie theater becomes a Dollar Tree, and that's an adaptive reuse.
Dollar Tree is a great place to get candles.
Is it?
Candles are very expensive.
How many candles do you buy?
Candle stores and things like that. Not very often.
but apparently enough to know that.
Absolutely.
I think the only thing I've ever purchased at a Dollar Tree store was once Christmas wrapping paper at the one in Gretna. I was running late for something, or I had to bring a gift, and I was like, oh, I should have wrapped it. And I literally went to the dollar store, and they had a wide selection of Christmas wrapping paper, and I wrapped it in my car.
Those dollar stores are also great for pool noodles, which on the show a couple of years ago, I did talk about how if you have planters and things like that, and you don't want to put all soil in there, and you got plenty of room, you just take those pool noodles, because the water doesn't deteriorate them, because they're made for pools and chlorine. And so it's a great filler for your porch front planters. That's
another thing that I would have never really imagined you buying.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Just see if you remember that into the spring.
Come planting season. Well, the Omaha City Council on Tuesday approved the creation of the Little Bohemia Business Improvement District for part of a historic neighborhood along 13th Street south of downtown that we affectionately call Little Bohemia, because so many Eastern European immigrants settled there back in the day. And the creation of these BIDs, or business improvement districts, require owners of the businesses within the boundaries to pay a special assessment. This particular one would be 90 cents for every $1,000 of property valuation. Can be a little bit controversial, but the money is used for things like litter control, weed control, beautification, wayfinding signs, that sort of thing. I like these business improvement districts a lot because I think in general, Trenton, we've got a nice city, right? You and I, we love our town. We're proud of it. There's a few things I think we can do a better job of in this town. One is, compared to some of the other places I travel to, we have a lot of weeds that grow up in the cracks of the concrete. And I see some of these litter issues, and I love these business improvement districts because at least for that particular area, they get more attention for just niceness and cleanliness and all that sort of thing, which is something I think we as a community have to still notch up our game a little bit.
Especially with the harsh weather, because the four seasons, and you go to other cities that have less extremes, and their roads are generally nicer.
Yeah.
And we do a fabulous job, Gene Stothard, on keeping up with our roads, but we do have our four seasons, and it takes a lot of maintenance.
Well, and regardless of the weather, bad weather does not excuse like weeds growing up through the cracks. And I don't know if this is City of Omaha or Nebraska Department of Transportation, but you ever notice along Dodge, like sometimes it's a jungle of weeds growing out in the median of an all concrete thing. Little stuff like that. I think we need to get a little better.
I blame the class action attorneys because of Roundup. Used to be Roundup. So there's some health effects they've found, but we need a beautiful.
Hey,
we can make our city nicer.
I have noticed in the spring every year, the city goes around, and I don't know. Again, with the freeways, I don't know if that's Nebraska Department of Transportation or City of Omaha, but I've noticed on regular city roads in the spring every year, the city goes and sprays all of the little concrete cracks and pavement expansion separation lines, or whatever you want to call them, and that slows down the weed growth a little bit, but eventually it wears off, and by the time you get to late summer, someone get a weed whacker. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some projects along the streetcar line. We're going to talk about something significant coming to the Med Center, and we'll talk about the Nebraska jobless rate. All of that and more. So stay with us. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, and we'll be back after this on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
I was just seeing if the mayor is listening. Hold on.
That went on the air. Yeah, that went on the air.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
Level's a little low.
I don't know. I came on board, but I could keep them.
You might want to turn because sometimes your voice was like trailing a little bit.
Where were you noticing it?
Just overall, Jeff was
We'll find out.
She might be listening.
normal and Trent was just a little bit light.
That happens often.
Yeah,
Oh man.
At least I didn't say like Mean Gene or something.
certainly not
That'd be
she's trying to do
hilarious.
your job, of course.
We love the mayor.
Kind of
We're not
is.
picking on her when I made my weed complaints. Hey, even a great city can have some constructive criticism.
Doing the crazy. She may not see us that way.
She may not disagree. I'll keep an eye on my cell phone.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get blamed this time for something I say because I always get blamed for things that Jeff says. And Gene Stothard is probably the best mayor we've ever had. And
No offense, Hal.
yeah, Hal,
Mike
Hal, you're up there as well. But
Hi, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell.
no one's taking like
As soon as
a.
you say that, then you're gonna have Hal
Except us,
Dom
we
on
haven't-
your ass.
Most important things in life. And we hope that
No one's
you
exploited our, like,
together this holiday season with
Uncut,
those you love,
like,
and in the process
made a
create
meme out of
some
us, or-
generational memories.
That's true.
Holidays
Probably
give
best.
this
Probably
magical
so few
power
watch
to
it, but,
magnify small things
the,
and deliver greater memories over time. What a
You
return
gotta,
on
you know,
investment.
it's a
Happy
constructive
holidays.
criticism. Like, remember we had that. Oh, by the way, there over the years, I think you've said more things that are a little more controversial than I have on the show.
No question.
But you know, we did that little criticism that I admit I was responsible for with the downtown business improvement district a couple of years ago. Because downtown looked like abject shit a couple of years ago, and weeds growing everywhere.
Don't forget about the
Market.
Civic Auditorium site. You got us in trouble over this.
Well, that was different. But I talk about constructive criticism.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think the
That was an outright slam.
the BID was a little bit hurt feelings about that, but it was not acceptable a couple years ago how bad it was. It was looking downtown because there were weeds everywhere.
But we know she was listening.
Yeah, old mayor. Yeah.
I think she'll run again. I'm happy with it.
I hope she does. She's done a great job. It'll be interesting to see if she does. But I think if anyone ran against her, they would have a very difficult time making a case.
Right.
You know why we shouldn't just stay with what's working.
Well, you get a mayor, you know.
Here we go.
Oh, we're back.
Join the Salvation Army in their effort
And we'll
to
take that
love
call from the
beyond
mayor.
Christmas. Give Kenny Red Kettle this holiday season or online at kfav.com.
Good morning and welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. Grow Omaha brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, 4 metro area locations. You can find them at 120th and Maple, 144th and Industrial Road, in Midtown, in Papillion. Doesn't matter which one you pick, they all do a nice job. And of course, most people, when you think of Dingman's, you think, okay, repair the car after an accident, fender bender, door dings, scratches, scrapes, and certainly do all of that. But don't forget, they also offer mechanical services as well.
I'll need all that and more.
All of that and more. That's kind of our theme for the morning.
I just got a call from Mike, my service account manager
At Dingman's?
At Dingman's. Apparently, a couple parts are on back order from England.
Oh, because that's what happens when you drive exotic automobiles like you do.
Yes, and I'm paying for it.
Yes, you are. But at least you've got Dingman's in your corner.
I'm excited, and my car is in many pieces. I need to go visit it.
Yeah, just to see how it's coming along. So mostly we're just glad you're okay. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about a few things of note for you this week. The first one that we want to talk about is progress along the streetcar line. One of the TV stations recently ran a story that caught our eye, and it talked about how the city had identified 15 projects along the future streetcar line that are already in the works. And of course, there's so much potential along there because many of the lots along the streetcar line, which by way of review is 10th Street from CHI Health Center down to Farnham, west out to almost the Med Center, and then back again. And there are many properties along that route that are either still surface parking lots, and one of the things we're hoping the streetcar does is eliminate the need for pretty much all of those surface parking lots, and also underbuilt buildings, like little one-story buildings that could someday be replaced with 4 to 10-story buildings. At any rate, I thought it would be kind of fun just to talk about some of the key big projects that are already along the line that will provide kind of a boost for even more to come as the line construction gets started and finishes in a couple of years.
What I'm excited about that, as well as we saw it when Midtown Crossing was just getting started in 2007 to 2008, where people updated their houses, they cleaned their yards. It has that effect of when there's something good happening, people jump on and do that. And this will be an extreme version of that with all these projects. And plus, it's in, TIFable areas where people can get incentives to build bigger and better.
Yeah, and some of that TIF money, as the streetcar financing system has been designed, will go back to cover the cost of that. So we don't have to worry about a tax burden or anything like that on the general population, which is really nice. But a couple of the projects, though, already happening or underway or about to get started along that general route within a couple of blocks. And when we talk about streetcars, we usually look at a 3-block radius, if you will, because they tend to spread good real estate development cheer in about 3 blocks either side, maybe a little more. One of them would be the Brick Line project, which is nearing completion. That is on the north end of the Conagra campus. And if you ever take a moment to walk around that, thing, it's absolutely huge. It's like 2 blocks long.
Yeah, it just continues. And the way they put the parking garage in the middle so you don't really see it is very smart and clean looking.
And I'd like to see more of that, more and more of those hidden parking garages. I think, what do they call them? Sometimes when you put buildings along the outside of parking garages, they call them liner buildings, but this is more like the garage is just in the middle. And keep in mind, too, the Brick Line, lots and lots of apartment units, but also some pretty good commercial space. On the south side, Tupelo Honey is open, and I have yet to try it. But I need to get to. Have you tried it?
It's right above 3-Polo. I know that, but I haven't.
So you haven't tried it?
I haven't tried it.
Okay, supposedly it's pretty good. And then there are a couple of other restaurants. Memoir is getting close to opening, I believe.
That's a bar, isn't it?
Bar, restaurant, bar. They serve things you can put in your mouth.
Omaha's own flagship has 3 restaurants going there. It's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a real nice project. Of course, the skyscraper, Mutual of Omaha Tower, is along the line. And by the way, if you haven't been by the construction site, the climbing form that will hold in the concrete to create the stairwell and elevator shaft, the core, the spine of the building is pretty much assembled right now. And so that'll be kind of something we see for the next couple of years as the core of the building rises eventually up to 677 feet. A lot of progress lately with that building. Like the first 6 months of construction was pretty much stuff you couldn't see. It takes a lot of foundation work to make a pretty tall building, but now it's really starting to go vertical.
Not to mention the streetcar, when there's an event downtown like the Terrence Crawford celebration, there were so many people downtown. If they could jump on the streetcar anywhere between there and 39th Street, that's time where people will park all over the place and then just ride the streetcar.
Yeah, I think the key will be to park by the place you want to have dinner or drinks at after the event is over, and just take the streetcar to and from. Also along that line, Trenton, we've been hearing a lot. I don't know if anything has been formally announced, but multiple sources have been telling us that the Twin Towers of Central Park Plaza are going to go residential, 400-some apartments.
Like 450, it's right across from the new Untamed Kitchen, if you haven't tried it. Great restaurant at 15th and Farnham, right across from Pickleman's. And that's where Sullivan's is. Used to be Markel Insurance and Toast. but that'll be a huge project. But
Yeah.
it's a good location for it.
By the way, Markle Insurance has a sign up on the former Valmont building in First National Business Park now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I love that building.
That's a very attractive building. Back to downtown, a couple other projects that we'll highlight that are underway or happening along or near the streetcar route. The Flats on Howard, nice 6-story apartment building, 24th and Howard Street. Also, kind of in that area, at 17th and Harney Street, the Keyline building renovation is coming along very nicely.
I sold that once, and then UPS is going where Takechi was.
Yes, yeah, where the old Takechi Jewelers' UPS store. And then, was it a little restaurant called Bob's Grill, reopened after renovation in that building. Further west, there's a lot of people don't talk about this very much, but at 37th and Farnham, there's a 9-story mixed-use building that's under construction.
Huge.
This thing is like a block or two long.
It's got a big parking garage. Is that the one where the city owns the parking garage?
Yes. The city and the developer have teamed up on that, and it's about up to, I think, about the 5th floor right now. And I just think when that thing's done, it's just going to have this dominant presence in the middle of the Blackstone district. So at any rate, we're going to delay a couple of the other things, talking about Nebraska jobless rate and some stuff at UNMC until the next segment, because we want to get the news to you as soon as we can. After the news, we'll be back with much more. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Dull and uninspiring workspace?
Smooth.
Inject some life into your environment? Look no
What are you
further
up to
than
this weekend?
Rims, the local company that produces stunning
having
interior
the family over for my mom's
eye-catching
birthday
murals in
tonight.
window film, to recognition and history
how old is she?
walls, and
78
more. We
today?
have the expertise
Yeah,
to
no, on
transform
Pearl
your
Harbor Day.
space. So,
Pearl
whether
Harbor
you're
Day.
looking to impress
She was
clients,
born 4
boost
years
morale,
after Pearl
or
Harbor
simply
Day.
inject
On
some
Pearl Harbor Day.
personality,
Wow.
we've got you covered.
Yeah.
Check us out today at
Yeah.
rims.com.
So we're going to have.
That's
She's affectionately known as Mima in the family. So having Mima's birthday dinner
How do you spell
tonight.
Mima? M-I-M-A?
We spell it M-E-M-A. And this all started with her oldest grandchild when he was learning to talk. He couldn't say grandma or mom or whatever it is they were trying to say, and he kept saying Mima, and it just stuck. So I call her. I call my own mom. I'm like, hey Mima. My 54-year-old guy calls his mom Mima. Hey Mima.
Something a little weird about you.
Something ain't right.
I think I've heard Mima. I think that's a common word that's hard for little kids.
I have too, and it's funny you should say that, because over the years, because she's been Mima now for over 20 years, and over the years I've heard several other people refer to grandmothers as Mima. I wonder if it all comes from mispronouncing stuff when you're a little toddler.
Really, most family nicknames are from mispronunciations
Yeah.
that usually a kid makes, like of a sister.
That's why he's called Tone Star. No one could pronounce
My
it.
mom didn't want to be called Grandma, so she was Tom.
I remember that. What was the significance of Tom?
It was mom, Tom. I don't know.
Oh, I remember her talking about that once, that she was Tom, and I remember where did that come from? But it was kind of a play on mom.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Tom.
Hi, this is Joe
Tom.
Cordell.
Mom
Cordell
Tom.
and Cordell.
Tom
The
Mom.
holiday
She had those
season
Tom shoes,
shows
where
that
like
faith and
she had
family
the
are the most important
Tom's
things in
flag or
life.
whatever.
We hope that you
Tom's
succeed in
Tom-
coming
I think it's a
together
shoe
Tom's
brand or
shoes.
something.
Oh, yeah.
with
Close
those
to.
you love, and in
Those
the
were the ones
process
they
create
have reach
generational memories.
shoe you bought, they gave a shoe to charity or
Holidays
something.
have
Yeah.
small things to ever great
I wonder if they're still
memories
around.
over time.
Probably.
What a return on investment. Happy holidays.
Every shoe you bought, they let a kid make shoes in the factory.
Folks, I apologize. I apologize for the things he says on Omaha Uncut. I really
Just kidding.
have no control over what comes out of his mouth. I apologize.
Repair shop that's been the top choice in Omaha for over 20 years. I'm Darcy Dingman.
This year has gone
and at
so
Dingman,
fast.
our
Oh, it's
family
scary.
cares about your
It's
family.
scary. Been a
Accidents are hard.
good year,
Choosing a
though.
repair shop
I think it
is
has.
I'll always remember
Dingman's.com.
2023
That's
as a good
Dingman's.com
year.
for top choice in
I
collision.
almost called it
At
2024.
Dingman's,
It's so, still to this day, 20 and 21 and even 22 just kind of go together. And it's hard to remember when it was. What was what?
20 and 21 sucked, but 22 was a good year, and 23 for me was a friggin' awesome year.
I feel sorry for 2020 because it was gonna be such a cool year.
I feel sorry for us having to live through it.
In hindsight, it's 2020.
Yeah, it started off.
First 2 months.
January and February of 2020 were awesome.
Yeah.
January 14th wasn't a particularly red letter day.
Why? What was that?
That was the day they blew me out.
Oh, sorry, folks. Raj is having some bitter,
I'm over it 4
some
years
bitter
later.
flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they brought you back up to the big leagues.
They sent you down to AAA for a while, and
They
brought you
waved
back to
me.
the majors.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre Friday
Yeah.
aboard Air Force One. America's listening to Fox News.
But yeah, 2023. We salute you.
Now, the News Radio
We're going back to
1110.
Although I guess there's a few more weeks that we can
Can you
still.
believe there's a presidential election in not what is it, 11 months?
You have no idea how much I try to not think about that.
23 overnight, windbacks
I hate
tomorrow,
presidential
cloudy
election
and
years.
42
I
by
just
tomorrow
hate.
afternoon.
It's a,
Never has it been more litigious.
Sunny and a high of
Ugh, God.
47.
The
That's your
two
forecast. I'm Scott
front
Morrison.
runners
If you've driven by
could
any of Anderson
be
convenience
found
markets
guilty.
in
One could be
metro area
impeached.
locations,
One
you'll
could
probably
be
notice the change.
put in jail.
incarcerated.
Fuels are for the Amoco
Neither of them very good.
America, let's
for
pick
generations.
up. You know,
America, let's
we
do
don't have to
better.
have bad pickers.
Let's do better, America. No, I just hate even if I liked both candidates, I would hate presidential election years. It's just.
Says the political science master.
I have a master's degree in political science, but I'm not a master of it anymore. You know, I went to grad school just because I wanted to have a master's degree, and I didn't know what to do after I finished college, so I stuck around and I had a cool job with the university. But I'll be honest with you, academically, in grad school, I hated it.
Really?
Yeah. The academics in grad school, to me, were like torture.
This is a guy that wanted to be mayor or governor someday.
It was like watching paint dry, going through a political science master's degree academics. Now, like I said, I had an assistantship with the university that I loved, recruiting students and doing student orientation and all that. But the academic stuff, glad to have the master's degree, but every minute of it sucked.
I can see Jeff sitting on whatever Nebraska. Did you have a quad or like the green space or
You have been to the UNL campus, Trent.
Yeah, but I don't know that one. But like a group of like 10 to 15 new students, and Jeff's got everybody in a circle. Okay, everybody state your name, where you're from, what high school you went to, and the last thing you ate, and for your icebreakers.
I don't think that ever happened.
You didn't do student orientation, I bet.
Yeah, I was like a student lead supervisor for it. That's what I did in grad school.
Yeah. So how did you get the freshmen to like engage?
Well, when I was actually doing the tours, I was so engaging I didn't have to resort to icebreakers.
What were some of the jokes, your canned jokes that you used?
Yeah, it's like 30 some. 30. It may have been like 30.
Did you call the state
33.
capitol like the penis of the plains or anything like that?
Probably wouldn't have used that in an official new student enrollment capacity. Instead, we used phallic of the fields.
Okay.
That's much more.
The politically correct name for the state
The
capitol.
Daily Nebraskan, when I was in college, had some article because every year they would do an April Fool's Day edition, and
The Daily Half-Askin.
Yeah, penis of the plains, phallic of the fields. Then the other one of the words was Dr. Tom's tool. And then there was the Bob Father's bologna. Those were the other names for the Nebraska State Capitol building when I was in college.
That's rich.
That's rich.
Oh, sorry to put it on pause, but here we go.
Okay, thank God.
That was fast.
Glad to see the NCAA
Not for the listeners.
the 21st century, but there may be a lot more questions than possible answers. It's today's Rosie DiGiannozzi on the podcast
On top
page.
today.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center for metro area locations. And it is time for your Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. Noddle Companies is a full-service national real estate company that is headquartered here in Omaha. And they lead headquarter development projects for some very impressive enterprises. Like, did you know, Trenton Magid, that HDR, Kiewit, and Valmont Industries headquarters buildings were developed by Noddle Companies?
So let's go way back. Jeff and I talked about this before the show, that we wanted to do a tribute to Noddle Companies and the history. And I go back a little bit farther because I've been in the industry longer, but I also associated with some of the next generations. But Harlan Noddle and Joe Kirschenbaum, they built Noddle Companies from the beginning.
Yep.
And they, you may not know this, but around the country, they built a lot of Walgreens
and shopping centers too, right?
Shopping centers and Alcos.
Oh, remember the old Alco stores?
Alcos are small cities. I think they're out of a lot of those, but a lot of small towns, a lot of grocery stores. They developed One Pacific Place, and interestingly, they started with One Pacific Place shopping center, and then they ended up selling it to a company called Pogue and McEwen.
Oh, yeah.
And what's interesting about that is One Pacific Place was one of the first lifestyle centers, and now Pogue Development is partnering on the 192nd Avenue 1 project. So what goes around comes around. But that's... And then they go on and they develop First National Business Park and Commercial Federal Business Park, which was then Bank of the West Business Park, and now it's BMO.
Or BMO, as they call it. Yeah.
Business Park. What else?
I tell you, more currently, Noddle Companies, okay, we talk about Exarban Village a lot. That's probably the highest profile one that they are still working on. But Builders District downtown, where the Kiewit World headquarters is located. You've got River's Edge in Council Bluffs, appropriately right on the Missouri River. You have Steel Ridge in Sarpy County, which is northeast of I-80 and Highway 370. And then also recently completed a nice building at the Village Point West Medical Campus.
Yeah, the third building there. Kiewit buildings in Denver and other states.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that there are so many companies in Omaha, Noddle Companies being a perfect example, that do a lot of things, big things all over the country. But a lot of times you think, oh, that's just the company here in town, but they're doing stuff all over the nation. And we decided, hope you enjoyed our little bit of real estate history, our real estate history lesson and development history lesson this week, courtesy of Noddle Companies. You can find out about Noddle Companies a little bit more by simply going to noddlecompanies.com. They also have, the Facebook pages and all of that. So a couple other things we wanted to mention this segment. Last week, the University of Nebraska Board of Regents approved moving forward with planning for an infectious diseases air transport training facility at UNMC. This would be on the south edge of the campus, like a block or two south of Leavenworth, where they've got a facility there where I think they handle like sterilization of medical equipment and things like that. But this would be a $20 million investment. Now, when you think about the $2 billion of hospital construction they're about ready to kick off, you think to yourself, oh, 20 million's no big deal. But this is another one of those partnerships with the U.S. Department of Defense, which we know the Med Center is working very actively to do major things with the DOD right there on the main campus. And so things like this kind of move us along and keep the momentum and the partnership strong with the federal government.
That's a clean building right there.
Well, you're talking about the sterilization building, which we presume at least things coming out the back end are very clean. So Nebraska is one of the top 10 states with the lowest unemployment rate. We got a report from FormRush. Not familiar with that organization, but they released a study about which states have the lowest unemployment recently, and have kind of dug into a lot of U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data and some of that stuff. And right now, Nebraska. We've slipped a little bit. It wasn't that long ago when we were always like number 1 or number 2 lowest on unemployment. Right. We're at number 6 now, which is utterly unacceptable, but still good, I guess. And it says Nebraska snagged 6th place in the 2023 state joblessness standings. They were number 5 in this same study the previous year. It says the Cornhusker state saw out-of-work rate I almost said trickle down, but it's ticked down just a touch. So that's encouraging.
It shows that we have employees, though.
Yeah, and in all honesty, you don't want to stay in that number 1 spot for too long, because we need people to fill some of these jobs.
I mean, isn't that one of the biggest objections is, well, if I move my company there, I add a division, can I get workforce? That's
the tricky thing.
But we're also known as a very educated workforce, too.
So we're going to play a little Stump the Trenton. And Stump the Trenton, and that stumping question, which I'm almost guaranteed to stump you on.
Answer's 3.
That's kind of like that doesn't compute, because the question is, which state is number 1 lowest unemployment in this study? Say it.
Texas.
No, Maryland. And the year prior, Maryland was number 20. So they went from 20 to number 1 just like that.
Well, the biggest job growth is in government sectors, education. I just watched that this morning. And so they're just growing the heck out of the government.
That's got to be what it is.
So take away the government jobs, and where are you at?
Got to get. And in fact, Virginia, which is also right there, straddling Washington, D.C., is number 10. So that's probably what did it. So here's your number 10: Maryland, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, New Hampshire, Nebraska, Rhode Island, Utah, and Virginia. Utah always ranks high. Utah is just doing great. That state is en fuego in a good way.
But you don't think of industry, like what industry do you think of when you think of Utah?
High tech. They've been pulling in tons and tons of high tech companies from California, particularly Silicon Valley.
Good.
They've really pulled them in. Probably been pulling some in from Seattle as well, I would imagine. And that is it for this segment. We're going to take our final break of the morning. And when we come back, it'll be time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round. And I'm looking at the list, and there's an unusually large number of items on there. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
I wonder if anyone has noticed that it's just Dingman's Collision Center.
You know that?
No, we're having my mom's thing tonight, so I couldn't do it. You going?
Yeah.
Stunning interior branding, from eye-catching murals and window film to recognition and history walls and more. We have the expertise to transform your space. So, whether you're looking
so at any rate,
boost morale, or
we got quite a few things on here.
we've got you covered.
Let me
Check us
pull
out today at RINS.com. That's
pull this up.
RENZE.com.
The 12 days
Okay,
of
so-
Christmas is going on now. Save money on gifts for the whole family from local retailers,
Oh,
restaurants,
yeah, we've
and
got that too.
entertainment here in Omaha. Save 50%
Oh, we've got a lot to
on
cover.
restaurants, local retailers, and
Let's get it started.
We got a lot.
Should we start during the break?
KFAB.com.
It's a good idea. Just talk over the commercials.
Professional power tools from Menards. Metabo represents the
We'll just talk louder than the commercials.
and cordless power tools.
Got a small apartment building planned for the northwest corner.
Power tools make great gifts. Grab
You're going to have
18-gauge brand
about
new
5.5, roughly.
installation now on sale for
We can cover a lot.
Sale price good through December 11th. Plus, the Menards gift card is always
We'll just go. We'll just go through it fast. What we do.
The holidays are back, and you know what else is back? Wendy's Peppermint Frosty. So take some time for
Peppermint
yourself with this
Fro-
cold and creamy treat this
Peppermint
year.
Frosty?
Choose
Better be
wisely.
vanilla, not
Choose Wendy's
chocolate.
Peppermint Frosty.
Anytime-
Only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Anytime you mix
Frosty is
mint with
temporarily
any food
unavailable.
item, I hate it.
You didn't choose.
Do they have? That's peppermint, though.
Doesn't matter. Mint's mint.
That's right. You don't like mint juleps either.
Oh, like if you made me one of those chocolate mints that they sometimes give you with your bill at a restaurant, I'd retch on that thing.
You don't like peppermint patties?
Not if there's chocolate with them.
Wait, so
just all mint in general.
Like mint, like if I have a gum that's minty, I like that. Or if I like a breath mint, that's good. But as soon as you mix that mint with another food item,
do they even make vanilla frosties?
I hate it. What?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Congressman Don Bacon responds to some negative comments from KFAB listeners. Hear the interview, podcast link, and morning news page, KFAB.com.
And welcome back to the show. It is time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round, brought to you by Turner Construction. And they are building Omaha up like crazy and doing a great job of it. Turner Construction, nice deep bench of talent and resources from all over the world. But here in Omaha, they are staffed by Nebraskans and Iowans, Omaha people, if you will. And they do big projects. I'm not going to, some of the projects they do are absolutely huge, like the Sarpy County Data Center. You may have heard of that on Highway 50. And they also do massive projects. They're working on massive projects at Offutt Air Force Base right now. But just as that is a part of who they are, and it's really cool, they also do retail build-outs and office renovations and small buildings and medium buildings. And so if you're thinking about a contractor for your project, you want to look at Turner Construction. They just have such a good track record of delivering beautiful projects that meet budgets and perform well for the people who own those buildings. Turner Construction, sponsor of the Lightning Round. A couple small apartment projects planned in North Omaha. The first one is on the northwest corner of 16th and Spencer Street. Just 3 stories and 3 apartments on a small 8,000 square foot lot, but a nice example of infill in an urban area where we really want to encourage that. Just a couple blocks to the south, the Alice Apartments, built in 1920, 1609 Binney Street. 5 apartment unit building on the west has been completed, and now the developer is going to take a small commercial building to the east and turn that into 4 affordable apartments. For all you golfers out there, NetPar, N-E-T-P-A-R, NetPar has opened in the Capital District. This is an indoor golf simulator with food and beverage. And the company is offering free golf until December 13th to those who share the NetPar post on Facebook.
Not a bad catch.
Not bad. McDarrow's in Gretna is converting to another location of Herdat Sports Bar. McDarrow's is located right along Highway 6, and the opening as Herdat Sports Bar will take place on December 20th.
They probably got a stern letter from McDowell's for using trademark infringement.
Are you talking about Coming to America, the Golden Arcs versus the Golden Arches? Well played. I'm glad I picked up on it. Burger Detour, which we think is going to open any time on West Maple, has now started building its second location. It has gone vertical, partially enclosed. That is on the southeast corner of 204th and Pacific. Mm-hmm. And then we've got a few other items for you. Scooters will hold a ribbon cutting December 22nd for its new store at 192nd and Oakmont Drive. That's just north of Highway 370 in
Thank
Gretna.
God I was having a hard time finding a scooters.
You're starting to get worried that you would you would have to drive more than 2 blocks?
You can give directions by scooters now. Go 3 scooters, take a left.
750 locations nationwide now in 30 states for scooters, Omaha-based. Wingstop plans to open a location in a former Panera space along 72nd Street at the Shops at Market Point in Papillion. We have an opening date for Macadoodle's Fine Wine, Beer, and Spirits. This is northeast of 72nd and Grover Street. Macadoodle's will appropriately open on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. This is a chain of 10 liquor stores with locations currently in Missouri and Arkansas. Aldi plans to open a grocery store in the 250,000 square foot Settlers Creek development in Papillion near 72nd and Cornhusker Road. This Aldi will be 20,000 square feet. And if you're familiar with the center, it's going to be between Sam's Club and Hobby Lobby. Opening this spring, it'll be Aldi's 12th Nebraska location. Chili Dogs Foods of Fire will open a second location in a 3,300 square foot space at 11844 Standing Stone Drive in Gretna. The existing Chili Dogs is in Blair, and they are known for selling hot sauces, grill seasonings, and smokers. Reveal Salon and Spa has moved from its Maple Street location to just near Oakview Mall. And you actually enter the space through an existing patio door. A Casey's convenience store and gas station is under construction northeast of 204th and Q Street, right next to a recently opened McDonald's store.
And there'll be a Tommy's Express next to that.
And then that should be starting construction anytime soon, I believe. Okay. Curly Salon has leased Suite 316 at the Cedar Knoll Shopping Center. That's just a few blocks south of 72nd and Dodge Street. That area, I tell you, is going to get really hot because you have the big flagship Central Library under construction just to the north.
Crossroads, yeah, absolutely.
And if you haven't been by that area, definitely go and check that out. Action Burger, this is kind of interesting. Action Burger had recently opened in the former Burgerim space at 225 North 12th Street.
And a half or something?
It has a sign on the door that says closed until further notice.
That's never good.
It's not a good sign. Not a good sign. In fact, the Burgerim, is it Burgerim or Burger? I am Burger. Is it
Burgerim?
Burgerim.
It's Hebrew. It's plural.
The Burgerim sign is still up, and Action Burger is already closed until
they don't take action.
They did not. Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully it comes back because I wanted to try it. Hound HQ will open in mid-January next to Starbucks, southwest of 156th and West Dodge Road. This is a locally owned business that will provide dog daycare, overnight boarding, and grooming services. The location will have 2 indoor play areas and 2 outdoor play areas, presumably for the dogs and not for kids. And then for all of you ice skaters who want to make your own Hallmark movie moment, you've got the Heartland of America Park, and now the UNMC ice skating rink is opening as well. Music's playing, which means that we are done and everyone can go do something else. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
You like that? Everybody go do something else.
Go Creighton.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.